Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the channel. We're here on Friday Night SmackDown, the first SmackDown show after SummerSlam, where this man, Big Jim, Jimmy Uso, walked out with championship gold around his waist. This entire year in Universe mode, he's been chasing after that United States Championship, seemingly getting a little bit distracted at one point by the El Grande Americano situation. But speaking of the El Grandes, both of them were involved in that matchup as well, including Enta and Aleister Black. But Jimmy Uso was the man who walked out with the gold. Let's see what he's got to say to kick off SmackDown tonight.
Nah, hold up. Man, this one right here, this ain't just a title. This is a year of frustration. This is doubt. This is everybody telling me, Jimmy, you lost your edge, Jimmy, you ain't that guy no more. And yeah, last year, I held this championship in my own blood, my own brother, Sola. Sikoa made sure it was taken away from me. And ever since that night, I've been chasing this moment, chasing this title, chasing respect. And at SummerSlam, 5 men, chaos everywhere, masks, mind games, darkness. But in the middle of all that madness, Big Jim stood tall on one of the biggest stages in this business. Your boy is the United States champion. And now that I'm here, now that I finally got this gold back where it belongs, I gotta show some love. Because there's a man out there on his farewell tour. A man who carried this championship with pride. A man who showed the world what this title is supposed to mean, bar John Cena. So as your new United States champion, I'm bringing something back, bar. I'm bringing back the United States Open Challenge. That means anybody in that locker room, any style, any background, any moment, if you want a shot, you step up. And it don't start next week. It don't start at the next PLE. It starts tonight. Right here, right now. So whoever's got the guts, come get some.
Oh, okay. Well, the former United States champion answers the challenge, answers the call, as Big Jim, Jimmy Uso, looks to reignite the United States Open Challenge. And here tonight, it's going to be a tough task for him. However, this man, Chad Gable, Jimmy Uso, seemed to believe was one of the El Grande Americanos, but when a second one showed up, I mean, that threw spanners in the works. But now Chad Gable here tonight looking to regain the United States Championship. The question is, can he dethrone Big Jim, Jimmy Uso?
Introducing the challenger, from Minneapolis, Minnesota, weighing in at 202 pounds, Chad Gable. And his opponent, from San Francisco, California, weighing in at 251 pounds, the WWE United States Champion, Jimmy Uso.
The United States Championship Open Challenge returning with Big Jim, Jimmy Uso. But can he keep a hold of the title? The bell rings and we're underway here. United States Championship on the line in the first Open Challenge here in 2K25's Universe Mode Series. Big Jim looking to put an end to this one quickly. That would be a big embarrassment for Chad Gable if this matchup was to end that quickly. Chad Gable, of course, a man who's also been obsessing over that United States Championship. Held it on a number of occasions. Won the title first back in 2K24's Universe Mode, just like Big Jim, Jimmy Uso did as well. And he's held it already here in 2K25's Universe Mode Series, defeating Penta. But now, Chad Gable been sent to the outside. Big Jim following suit. Now some ground and pound being delivered by the United States Champion. Big Jim, Jimmy Uso is looking to send a statement to the locker room here this evening. He, of course, will not want to lose his championship on his first title defense here in Universe Mode. Now, Jimmy Uso heading back into the ring here. Perhaps maybe thinking about taking a count out, perhaps, but no, instead he goes for a suicide dive over the top rope. Big Jim putting it all on the line here, and Chad Gable doesn't know what's hit him. Jimmy Uso continuing the offense on the outside, just dishing out the punishment to Chad Gable. As now Jimmy Uso sends Chad Gable into the announce desk, rib first. And Chad Gable just going to take a moment to himself here to try and recover. Jimmy Uso just breaking up the count here though. And then deciding to go back on the offense. Jimmy Uso is not letting up here. 100 miles an hour by him. Driving the knee into the back of the head, and Chad Gable is struggling in this one. Jimmy Uso can feel it though. He's heading up top. Jimmy Uso with the risk again. High risk, high reward. And Big Jim, Jimmy Uso, the United States Champion, is all guns blazing here on Friday Night SmackDown. And the WWE Universe getting behind Jimmy Uso. Up to the second rope he goes. Jimmy Uso looking for a big punch, almost a Superman punch that. Perhaps paying homage to his tribal chief, as now he's, well, missing out on that blockbuster. Chad Gable finally back to his feet, able to get some offense in here perhaps. But no, Chad Gable cannot quite stay on top of things here. Jimmy Uso seems to have an answer for everything that Chad Gable is throwing at him. Chad Gable now just running the ropes, and a big elbow connecting on the jaw for Big Jim. And now Jimmy Uso looking for the super kick. Chad Gable caught him though. Chad Gable now into an exploder suplex, planting Jimmy Uso, and Chad Gable now with the upper hand. The question is, can Chad Gable stay on top of the United States Champion here? Chad Gable with a super kick of his own, playing Jimmy Uso at his own game here. So Chad Gable clearly switching up the offense to try and throw Jimmy Uso off of his game. Super kick connecting for Big Jim. Jimmy Uso looking for another super kick, but Chad Gable now belly to belly suplex, tossing the United States Champion across the ring. And Chad Gable just looking to try and slow the pace down for this matchup, because that's going to suit him more than it will suit Jimmy Uso. And now Jimmy Uso could be in trouble. Chad Gable bringing the straps down, signaling that this could be the end. But Jimmy fighting back into this one again. And into a spear connecting for the United States Champion. Into the cover. Big Jim for the victory. Can he do it? No. Kick out found at the last second for Chad Gable. My goodness. The WWE Universe well behind these two. The United States Open Challenge returning here on Friday Night SmackDown thanks to Big Jim and Jimmy Uso. Chad Gable, the first superstar to answer the call and try and take down the United States Champion. As now Jimmy Uso with Chad Gable into the corner, face first into the turnbuckle, up to the top rope. Chad Gable just taken down a big right hand as he crashes to the floor on the outside. And Jimmy Uso is in firm control of this matchup. Chad Gable's been busted wide open here. I mean, Chad Gable has been stating in recent weeks that he's had a few doctor's appointments, so you have to wonder, could that maybe be a possibility as to why Chad Gable is not 100% right here? Because Jimmy Uso is all over Chad Gable. Now Chad Gable back to his feet though, playing a bit of possum. Chad Gable looking for a big right hand. Jimmy Uso though, with a double super kick, one to the face and one to the back of the head as well. And another super kick, 3 in a row. Jimmy Uso is not messing about here this evening. Another super kick again. My goodness, Chad Gable, his head is going to come off of his shoulders here if Jimmy Uso continues. Up to the top rope. Jimmy Uso to put Chad Gable away, he can't do it. Chad Gable able to avoid the Uso splash. And Jimmy Uso, 5 super kicks back to back, and Chad Gable back to his feet. Perhaps that may have woken him up. As now Jimmy Uso crashes down to the outside. Chad Gable just sticking with a high ground for a moment and then into a suicide dive of his own. And Chad Gable is done playing around here. Clearing off the announce desk, perhaps thinking about putting the United States champion through the desk here. Jimmy Uso though sent into the barricade instead. Jessica Carr telling Chad Gable to get back into the ring, but instead he's going to head up to the top rope here. Chad Gable misses out on that double axe handle. Luckily for Jimmy Uso. As now Jimmy Uso can gain control of this matchup once more. Chad Gable though, with Jimmy Uso looking for a German suplex on the outside, but a super kick connecting instead. Jimmy Uso looking to take the head off of Chad Gable's shoulders. And now Chad Gable looking for an armbar on the outside here, perhaps trying to wear out the champion, but Jimmy Uso fighting back here. Big strikes to the midsection. As Chad Gable finds a reversal, sends Jimmy Uso up towards the rampway. And Chad Gable now just taking his time in the ring, just teasing Jimmy Uso. Trying to claim that this one's too easy for him, but now Jimmy Uso's been caught as he enters back into the ring here. Chad Gable ankle lock locked in, but Jimmy Uso able to find a way to fight out of it, but he was clutching at that ankle for a moment there. So Jimmy Uso could be in trouble here as he heads up top once again. Jimmy Uso, the United States champion, looking to put Chad Gable away, connecting with the Uso splash. Can Jimmy Uso defend the championship here successfully? For the victory, Jimmy Uso is still the United States champion. So Big Jimmy Uso on his first open challenge for the United States championship. Jimmy Uso is victorious and he stands tall with the gold once again, just like he did back at SummerSlam. And ladies and gentlemen, as we move on with the show, we have the Women's United States Champion Roxanne Perez, after successfully defending the title back at SummerSlam against her former best friend Cora Jade. Roxanne Perez arriving on Friday Night SmackDown, so pleased with herself here this evening, but you can hear the boos ringing around the stadium. But Roxanne Perez is not going to care about that because she made her former best friend tap out back at SummerSlam to the crossface. And Roxanne Perez still with the championship gold around her waist. But let's see what she has to say here this evening.
Wow, wow, wow. Listen to you people. SummerSlam came and went, and just like I promised, Cora Jade tapped out. I didn't steal anything. I didn't get lucky. I walked into the biggest stage of the summer, and I proved something you still don't want to accept. I am the greatest female champion of all time. And there isn't a single woman in that locker room who can step up, stand toe-to-toe with me and take this championship away. The division is empty. I've beaten your favorites. I've crushed your hope. And now, there's nobody left.
Hold on a second. Well, here she is, the former #1 contender. And you have to believe that Cora Jade now has a tall mountain if she wants to climb back all the way up towards that United States Championship. But Roxanne Perez is going to be absolutely delighted at that. Let's see what Cora Jade has got to say.
I'm not here to make excuses. You beat me at SummerSlam. I'll own that. But don't you dare stand there and act like this is over. Enjoy this moment, Roxanne, because I promise you, I'm not finished with you yet.
Hold on. Well, look who it is. It's Sol Ruka, the woman who back at Evolution pushed Bayley, the former WWE Women's Champion, to the limit. And she's here on Friday Night SmackDown, clearly wanting to join the party and have her say. Let's see what she has got to say here this evening.
Cora, I respect you. Truly. And I get why you want another shot. But you did get your chance. And now, it's time for someone else to step up. You said there's no one left. Well, I'm standing right here. So I'm officially challenging you, Roxanne Perez, for the Women's United States Championship.
You? No. You don't get to jump the line just because you feel brave tonight.
Or what, Roxanne? Are you scared?
Scared? You want your shot? Fine. At Saturday night's main event, I'll put this championship on the line. And when you fail, just like everyone else, I'll prove that it doesn't matter who steps up. The result stays the same.
And ladies and gentlemen, as we move on with the show, we're into the tag team division where we have the New Day, the two who were actually in action back at SummerSlam inside of that big matchup for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team titles, where the New Day took on the Street Profits, Fraxium and the Bullet Club. But unfortunately for all the other teams in the division, somehow, some way, the tag team champions Fraxium were able to successfully defend the titles, but the New Day are looking to try and get themselves back to the top of the mountain here in the tag team division of WWE. But the question is, can they be successful here tonight on Friday Night SmackDown? And ladies and gentlemen, here are their opponents. It is Otis and Tozawa, the Alpha Academy, making their way down to the ring here with Maxine Dupree by their side. Of course, Maxine Dupree did have an opportunity early on in this series to fight for the Women's United States Championship back in the tournament, but unfortunately for her, she was unsuccessful in gaining the championship gold. But here tonight, Otis and Akira Tozawa looking to propel themselves up in the WWE Tag Team division. But it's going to be one tough task, as here this evening they're taking on one of the greatest tag teams of all time in the New Day. But the question is, can Alpha Academy pull off a big upset here this evening? We're about to find out. So Xavier Woods and Otis are the two that are going to start off this matchup. And here we go, bell rings and we're underway here. Tag team action, Alpha Academy against the New Day. As now, oh, hold on a second. Well, Xavier Woods into a roll-up early on here, looking to steal the victory. How embarrassing that would be. But now Otis, back and forth we go. A bit of a seesaw between these two. Otis was trying to use his heavy size and structure to try and force Xavier Woods' shoulders down to the mat. But look at this, powered down. Otis just taking complete control early on here, as Xavier Woods doesn't seem to have an answer for the power of the tree trunk. As Otis now slamming down Xavier Woods. A deadlift powerbomb, once again showcasing his power here. And the combination of the Alpha Academy being Akira Tozawa and Otis, you could argue, is a very balanced tag team, as you have the power of Otis and then the high-flying abilities of Akira Tozawa. But now, Xavier Woods back to his feet here. And a big super kick drops the tree trunk. As you can hear the boos ringing around the stadium into a frog splash and hooking the leg here, looking for the victory early on. No. Kick out found by Otis. So the New Day clearly trying to make quick work of Alpha Academy. And oh my goodness, huge DDT as the tree trunk is down and Kofi Kingston into the matchup for the first time. Big kick to the side of the head, but Otis still making his way back to his feet. He will not stay down here. And another tag for the New Day, looking to wear out the tree trunk. As now, oh my word, Xavier Woods with a double axe handle to the spine. And Otis looking for a tag, but Xavier Woods playing up to WWE Universe, and Otis gets the tag. Xavier Woods crashes and burns. Akira Tozawa is the legal man now. And the Alpha Academy have an opportunity to get back into this one. Akira Tozawa with a big elbow in the corner, but Xavier Woods fighting his way back out here and just planting Tozawa. So the New Day once again looking to get back to the top of the mountain and regain Tag Team Championship gold. Of course, they held those titles back at WrestleMania when they took on Big E in a handicap match. And Big E was trying to take the championships away from the New Day all on his own. And he put up one heck of a fight, but unfortunately for him, he was unsuccessful. As now into an abdominal stretch here, Akira Tozawa, but big strikes found for Xavier Woods. And now look at this, into a modified Hurricane Rana there. A bit of a head scissors. And now Xavier Woods with Akira Tozawa planting him, tossing him across the ring here. And Kofi Kingston now back into the ring again. The New Day utilising their experience and their chemistry here this evening and just keeping the offense going. We've almost had virtually no offense in the way of the Alpha Academy, but hold on a second, the New Day, a miscommunication just there, as now Kofi Kingston offered a springboard into a drop kick, and now off the ropes he goes, big body splash connecting. Kofi Kingston building the momentum, making sure that the New Day stay in full control of this matchup. Xavier Woods back into the ring again, fast tags by the New Day, as now Xavier Woods just mocking Akira Tozawa, and Otis has had enough. Otis may have just created an opening for the Alpha Academy, tossing Xavier Woods off of the top rope and crashed down to the floor. And I believe that Akira Tozawa caught Xavier Woods on the face there. May not have caught all of it, as he damaged himself in the process, but luckily for him, he's back to his feet first. Big opening here for the Alpha Academy, though, to get back into this one. Slamming Xavier Woods down to the mat, and now the tree trunk makes his way back into the ring. As Otis now with a big diving headbutt connecting on Xavier Woods. And now Otis with Xavier up and slams him down to the mat. And Otis now off of the ropes and into a blockbuster connecting. The Alpha Academy have the opening that they needed, and they're looking to take advantage here. Otis in full control, and well, Xavier Woods is going for the for the tag here. Is he going to make it? But a big splash to the legs stops Xavier Woods in his tracks. Otis may have hurt himself in the process, but at least he stopped the hot tag, ensuring that Xavier Woods stays in the ring here. He's now sent into the corner with the Alpha Academy, and Otis now targeting the leg and the knee, creating some torque by utilizing the ropes there, as now another tag. And well, Maxine Dupree getting herself involved, and Xavier Woods, well, he needs to remain focused on this one, because right now, well, I was about to say that the Alpha Academy are all over the New Day. Wasn't the greatest start for them, but a Shining Wizard connecting for Akira Tozawa, and that could be it. Into the cover, hooking the leg. Kofi Kingston into the ring though, to break up their count and save things for the New Day. And well, the start to this matchup looked like the New Day had things in complete control, but then Xavier Woods got a little bit too arrogant, a little bit too confident, and Otis had enough, and that came back to bite the New Day. As now Otis just cranking away at the head, and then a big elbow drop across the chest, and Xavier Woods is struggling. Otis with a big stomp as well to the midsection. Now Xavier Woods back to his feet, and a reversal found for him, sending the tree trunk into the corner. It may have been a wise decision to maybe go for the tag here, but Xavier Woods instead backing it up and looking for, oh, hold on a second, Xavier Woods, oh my goodness, the reversal by Xavier Woods, just telling Otis here that he's not ready for the New Day. Big drop kick connecting off the springboard. We saw Maxine Dupree up on the apron for a moment as well, trying to cause a distraction, but clearly that didn't work. As now Otis back into the ring again. Big strikes by Xavier Woods here, trying to get the New Day back in control of this matchup. Xavier Woods, oh my goodness, big right hand, and I believe he may have just busted Otis wide open. He has. Otis is busted wide open here on Friday Night SmackDown. As Kofi Kingston now targeting the leg of the tree trunk, trying to take the foundation out from underneath the powerhouse. He's now sent into the corner, and now looking for another double team here. The New Day, double axe handle to the arm. And now Otis into a roll-up. He's looking to steal the win here. Xavier Woods shoulders down on the mat. Is it enough? No. Kick out found for Xavier Woods. And now Otis just tossing Xavier across the ring. Again showcasing the power. Now into the corner of the Alpha Academy once again here. Otis deciding to back it up for a moment here. And Otis charging himself up, looking for a big splash, but he took a moment too long. And Xavier Woods able to recover. And now, oh my goodness, the power, the knees to the midsection. Xavier Woods catching Otis off guard into the cover, but Akira Tozawa is able to break up the count this time and save things for the Alpha Academy. Is now sent into the corner again is Otis. And another tag being made, and now the New Day could be looking to put an end to this matchup. Kofi Kingston with the drop kick connecting to the midsection and just staring at Akira Tozawa, but now into the cover to put Otis away. No, huge kick out found by the tree trunk. And Kofi Kingston can't quite believe it. Xavier Woods in shock on the apron as well for a moment there. As now, what are the New Day planning? Otis making his way back to his feet again, just will not stay down. As Kofi Kingston now taking a little bit too long here. Reversal found. As Otis looking for a big clubbing blow, but then Kofi Kingston just using his agility and his speed to avoid the tree trunk. Now up to the second rope. Otis could be in trouble. DDT connecting. Kofi Kingston pulling out all the stops here. And now looking for the boom drop. Connecting for Kofi Kingston, and this could be all over. But he's decided to go for a tag. Maybe the New Day looking to inflict more punishment here. Otis is in deep, deep trouble. Up to the top rope, Xavier Woods. Big drop kick connecting. And now into the cover again, Xavier Woods for the victory. No, big kick out found once more. And Xavier Woods again, cannot believe it. Otis just will not stay down here this evening. Sent into the corner again. Big right hand by Xavier. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods now. Another double team. This is surely going to be it. Up to the top rope. Drop kick again to the midsection. Kofi Kingston telling Akira Tozawa this one's over. Into the cover. And a rope break. Otis was close enough to the ropes to grab a hold of the rope there, and somehow the Alpha Academy are still in this match. What on earth is happening? Up to the top rope, Kofi Kingston, big body splash connecting into the cover again to put Otis away once and for all, and he's done it. Well, what a fight that was. The New Day struggling to put away Alpha Academy, but they finally get the victory in the end, and the New Day could potentially have their eyes set on Fraxium and the undisputed tag team titles. And ladies and gentlemen, as we move on with the show, we have a man who was unsuccessful back at SummerSlam. So Carmelo Hayes went head-to-head, face-to-face with Trick Williams. But unfortunately for Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams was the man who walked out victorious, albeit via a count-out. So you have to wonder whether Carmelo Hayes is going to feel bothered by that, but it did seem like by the end of the matchup, Carmelo Hayes was very frustrated at the fact that Trick Williams had decided to take a count-out victory over him. But here tonight, Carmelo Hayes has a message for the WWE Universe here on Friday Night SmackDown. So let's see what Carmelo Hayes has got to say.
No, no, no. Shut your damn mouth. SummerSlam was a robbery. I don't care what the record books say. I don't care what social media is saying. I don't care what you people think. Trick Williams knows what I know. I'm better than him. I've always been better than him. You see, Trick didn't beat me. He ran. He ran because deep down, he knows when it comes down to talent, instinct, greatness, there's levels to this. And I'm on one Trick will never touch.
Oh, hold on. Well, this is an interesting situation we have right here. This is not the man I expected to see showing up here, but Penta deciding to interrupt Carmelo Hayes when Carmelo Hayes is clearly frustrated and clearly feels as though Trick Williams took the easy way out back at SummerSlam. But let's see what Penta has got to say.
Melo. Siempre lo mismo. Always excuses, always blame, always yesterday. You talk about SummerSlam. You talk about last year. You talk about what you used to be. But look at you now. You are not robbed, Melo. You are exposed. You say Trick ran? No. Trick saved you. You say the world is against you? No, hermano. You did this to yourself. Siempre la misma historia. When things go wrong, you point everywhere except the mirror. I know what it's like to fight, to take responsibility, to move forward. And that's something you can't do.
And oh my goodness, Carmelo Hayes taking out Penta. Clearly he's heard enough here. But Penta gonna fight his way back. And now these two in the middle of the ring, and Carmelo Hayes looking to take the fight to Penta here. Well, what on earth is going on Friday Night SmackDown? And, well, Carmelo Hayes was about to try and take the mask off of Penta. Oh my goodness, Spanish Fly. As Carmelo Hayes here just beating down Penta, but Trick Williams is here. Trick Williams coming to the rescue for Penta. Big strikes connecting, and Carmelo Hayes sent outside the ring as Trick Williams and now Penta stare down, but seemingly Trick Williams coming to the rescue here on Friday Night SmackDown. And ladies and gentlemen, as we move on with the show here on Friday Night SmackDown, we have the new WWE Women's Champion, Tiffany Stratton, making her way down to the ring here this evening with the championship over her shoulder. The title that she lost just before WrestleMania in 2K24's Universe Mode series. And back at SummerSlam, finally Tiffany Stratton was able to get her revenge on Bayley, the former champion, and take the title away from her. But of course, Blake Monroe of all people did come to the aid of Tiffany Stratton, so maybe it could be argued that Tiffany Stratton should be thanking Blake Monroe.
Wow, SmackDown. This never gets old. You know, the last time I held this championship, it was only a couple weeks before WrestleMania. And it was supposed to be Boss Time versus Tiffy Time on the biggest stage of them all. But that moment, it was robbed. From me and from every single one of you. For the last 6 months, Bayley didn't just fight to keep this title. She manipulated her way to the top. She surrounded herself with protection, with backup, with excuses, because she couldn't stand the thought of losing the WWE Women's Championship. And yeah, I've had my ups and downs. I've had to babysit. I've had to play nice. But I was the one person who always saw Bayley for exactly who she is and exactly what she was planning. And now, I can finally, proudly call myself your WWE Women's Champion.
Oh, hold on a second. Well, look who it is. It is Blake Monroe, the woman who came to the assistance of Tiffany Stratton back at SummerSlam. But what does Blake Monroe want here this evening? Interrupting the celebrations here. Let's see what she's after.
Come on, SmackDown. Let her hear it. Congratulations, Tiffany. Seriously, SmackDown finally has a champion it can be proud of. But I couldn't help overhearing your speech, and I noticed something was missing. No thank you? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not here to steal your spotlight. This is your moment. But a little appreciation can go a long way, especially when someone had your back at SummerSlam.
Uh-oh. Well, here is a woman who went through an absolute war back at SummerSlam in the underground. Lola Vice taking down Mami. But what on earth does she want here this evening? We're about to find out.
I'm done waiting. I made Rhea Ripley tap out at SummerSlam, and that means I'm next. That championship, it's coming with me.
Hey, how about you show a little respect? You're standing in front of the champion.
Oh, here we go. Well, it's the former WWE Women's Champion, Bayley, with Kiana James by her side. But the interesting situation right here is Lola Vice has been stating she wants that championship. How on earth is Bayley going to feel about that? I guess we're about to find out here, as the initiative could be on a continued downward spiral. Let's see what happens here.
Lola, what are you doing? That title, that was my championship. The plan was always to keep it with me.
It's not your title anymore. And it doesn't matter who held it before. It doesn't matter who's holding it right now. Because it's only a matter of time before it belongs to Lola Vice.
Well, here we go. Bell rings and we're underway for the main event of the evening here. And well, who would have guessed that this would have been the way that Friday Night SmackDown would have gone here this evening? But Blake Monroe in singles action against Kiana James. Of course, Bayley and Tiffany Stratton at ringside, as well as now Blake Monroe into some ground and pound on Kiana James. Blake Monroe has pretty much just inserted herself on the scene. Been like a ball of fire here on Friday Night SmackDown. Just continuous victories. The only person who's actually defeated her so far is Tiffany Stratton in the Queen of the Ring tournament. Of course, Blake Monroe was involved in that Survivor Series gauntlet match as well, back where she made her debut here in 2K25's Universe mode. But as for now, Blake Monroe, well, she's getting distracted by Bayley on the outside here, and that leaves Kiana James with an opening to take advantage here. And well, this is why the WWE Women's Champion is also at ringside, to try and stop Bayley from causing too much chaos on the outside of the ring just there. Perhaps to even the odds here this evening. We're now cranking away at the shoulder of Kiana James here. Of course, Kiana James making her big return back at SummerSlam after suffering a concussion in that Queen of the Ring tournament. The question had to be asked, would she still be by the side of Bayley? And it seems like she is, at least for now. However, the same cannot be said about Lola Vice, as it seems like Lola Vice actually wants to go after that WWE Women's Championship herself. The same title that she helped Bayley to retain on numerous occasions. And well, Lola Vice also making her debut back at Saturday night's main event. And that will be the next premium live event that we will be heading to, is Saturday night's main event in a couple of weeks' time. But now big elbow drop connecting for Kiana James. Bayley bringing a sledgehammer into the ring. But the referee disposing of that before it can be utilised. As now these two on the outside. Kiana James, a couple of big knee strikes in the midsection of Blake Monroe. And now Kiana James is in full control here, and you can hear the boos in the stadium as Blake Monroe, the woman who pretty much has saved this division from the reign of Bayley by coming to the aid of Tiffany Stratton back at SummerSlam. But Kiana James right now just absolutely beating down Blake Monroe on the outside. A 7 count by the referee. Kiana surprisingly sending Blake Monroe back into the ring. And she follows in herself. She wants to get the pinfall victory here. Into the pin she goes. Blake Monroe in trouble, but she's able to kick out before. 1 count here. As now, oh my goodness, a clothesline to the back of the head. Kiana James now backing it up into the corner. Sizing up Blake Monroe. Couldn't quite connect with that elbow. Blake Monroe now gaining the upper hand, at least for a moment here. Off the ropes goes Kiana, looking for a big boot there to the midsection. But Kiana saw it coming, was able to get the reversal. As Bayley on the outside seems to be very pleased with what the brains of her operation is able to do here this evening. Blake Monroe, though, fighting her way back. And of course, Blake Monroe has got a pinfall victory over Rhea Ripley in the Queen of the Ring tournament. And she also had a pinfall victory over Bayley when Bayley was the WWE Women's Champion. But now Blake Monroe, big drop kick connecting to Kiana James. Into the cover she goes. Blake Monroe, no. Big kick out found for Kiana. Blake Monroe, though, sticking on the offense. Some ground and pound being delivered. Big right hands by Blake Monroe. As now Blake is the one backing it up in the corner. Blake Monroe sizing up Kiana James with a massive punt kick to the face. And now Kiana James in big trouble because the knee to the face. Blake Monroe into the cover. She falls into the cover, but not a victory. Big kick out found by Kiana. And Kiana rolls to the ropes, utilizing the ropes to get back to her feet here. Bayley on the far side, trying to cause a bit of chaos and distraction. Exposing the steel on that turnbuckle pad. Perhaps giving Kiana James an opening. Or at least giving her something to try and utilize to get back into this one. It's now Blake Monroe on the second rope. Misses out with that kick. But into a double axe handle connecting. And now up top she goes. Blake Monroe's looking to fly here. Kiana James slowly back to her feet. And a big forearm to the top of the head. Blake Monroe is closing in on another victory here on Friday Night SmackDown. Hook in the arms. DDT connecting for Blake Monroe as she crawls into the cover. Kiana's near the ropes here. But a big kick out found Kiana James. I'm surprised she didn't grab the rope just there. Maybe she didn't really know where she was at. It seems like she's recovered at least for a moment. But now Kiana James able to find a reversal again. Could be a turning point in the matchup right there. Kiana James missed out on that big forearm. Blake Monroe was able to beat her to the punch just there. And now Kiana James showcasing her power. Look at this. But Blake Monroe rolling through into the pin. Is it going to be enough for the victory? No. Kick out found for Kiana James once again. And Blake Monroe now just taking her time here. Oh my word, what a nerve planting Kiana James. Blake Monroe throwing out all the stops here this evening. Big body splash off the second rope. And Kiana is in deep trouble. Bayley on the outside, distracting the referee, telling the referee about the exposed steel on that turnbuckle pad. Maybe at the perfect opportunity here. Kiana James was able to find the reversal on the DDT. That's now Bayley up to the top rope again, up onto the apron, exposing the steel once again. And calling the referee's attention once more. Bayley causing absolute chaos on the outside. But the question is it going to be enough to help Kiana James maybe put down Blake Monroe here? Blake Monroe playing a bit of possum, back to her feet again. Big drop kick connecting for her. Trying to get back in control of this one is Blake Monroe. She knows Kiana James can be a dangerous opponent, so she has to be careful herself. As she's heading up top once again, Bayley just arguing with the WWE Universe in the front row just there. But Kiana James again able to avoid a big splash off the top rope. Kiana now Looking to maybe give Blake Monroe her first loss here on Friday Night SmackDown. The knee to the face, into the cover. Kiana James for a big victory. No. Kick out found for Blake Monroe, and Kiana cannot believe it. But Kiana James isn't finished just yet. Blake Monroe's in position. Kiana James with the elbow, and then planting Blake Monroe face first into the cover, hooking the leg for the victory. Massive win. No, big kick out again for Blake Monroe. Kiana James just can't seem to find a way to put Blake Monroe away here. Blake just keeps on fighting. As now Blake Monroe, another reversal, lands on her feet. Kiana sent off the ropes here and planted off the sidewalk slam. And now Blake Monroe, the stomp to the spine and looking for that knee to the face once again. Big knee connecting into the cover, hooking the leg for the victory. Blake Monroe, no. Kiana James powers out once more. What a main event this is for Friday Night SmackDown. Oh my goodness, Bayley once again on the outside, causing a distraction here. But Blake Monroe, she needs to remain focused on her opponent. Otherwise, Kiana James is going to take advantage just like that. And Tiffany Stratton trying to get the referee's attention. As Kiana James now just coming up with a game plan with Bayley. Well, what on earth were they planning? As now Kiana James, oh, she almost got caught with a big kick to the midsection there, but was able to avoid it. Blake Monroe, not sure what she's going after. As Kiana James just seems to have the upper hand. As now, Kiana James calling for Bayley to hold her feet here into the cover. But a kick out found somehow, despite the fact that Bayley was holding on to Kiana's feet, trying to give her extra leverage in the pin. As now Kiana again in the corner, backing it up, and a big forearm to the back of the head. And Tiffany Stratton trying to tell the referee what's going on the far side. But he doesn't seem to be too with it here this evening. Seems a little bit clueless. Hasn't noticed any of this dirty tactics by the Initiative. As now Blake Monroe shaking her head, telling Kiana she's not about to get away with that. Not this evening. DDT connecting Blake Monroe into the cover. Bayley with shock on her face for the victory. No! A massive kick out again by Kiana James. Now, Blake Monroe is the one struggling to get the victory, but oh my word, the knees into the spine. Blake Monroe looking to get the submission here. But Kiana James able to find a way out of it. And now, back to their feet once again. Kiana James is just relentless here this evening. Kiana sizing up. Oh my goodness, Blake Monroe in trouble with her own move, busting her wide open into the cover. Kiana James, can she do it? Kiana James with a massive victory on Friday Night SmackDown and laughing in the face of Blake Monroe. So Kiana James pinning Blake Monroe off of her own move. Well, the disrespect, and well, Tiffany Stratton couldn't quite be the equalizer that maybe she had hoped on ringside. But Kiana James with a massive, massive victory here. And ladies and gentlemen, as we look to close on out the show, we have the new WWE Undisputed Champion, and that is this man, the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu, following on from SummerSlam, where he successfully cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase. He obviously put John Cena through the announce desk to eliminate him from the situation, and then headed back into the ring, hit the BME onto the final boss, and successfully pinned the champion at the time, which was the final boss, and walked out of SummerSlam as the new Undisputed Champion. But Jacob Fatu here this evening has got a message for the WWE Universe. A bit of a mixed response here in the arena. I'm sure that most of this crowd probably wanted to see John Cena with that championship around his waist. But Jacob Fatu, let's see what he's got to say.
You hear that? That's the sound of people who don't know what they want. I don't care. I didn't cash in because I wanted to be liked. I didn't cash in to make friends. And I sure as hell didn't cash in to be anybody's dog. All year long, I was told when to move, who to fight, who to fear. I was told to listen to the final boss. I don't need anyone pulling my strings. I don't need anyone ordering me around. And I don't need anyone putting me in my place. Because I am the Samoan werewolf. And I am the WWE champion. And John Cena, you ain't the only man who could put The Rock in his place.
Oh, hold on a minute. He is here, the greatest of all time, on his farewell tour. Unfortunately for him, though, he is not entering the arena with that championship around his waist here. The undisputed title, of course. But John Cena, let's see what he's got to say in response to Jacob Fatu.
No. Before anybody says anything else, we need to listen to what this man is saying. Jacob Fatu didn't just cash in a briefcase. This man broke free. Jacob, you were manipulated, controlled, paraded around like some kind of monster on a leash, all because of the final boss. And I'm going to say something tonight that I haven't said yet. That handshake The Rock offered me at SummerSlam, that wasn't about respect. That was an offer. All I had to do was shake his hand. And that championship, it would have been mine. But I've been watching how he treated you, watching how he spoke to you, watching how he tried to control you. You didn't deserve that. Nobody does. And that's why I slapped him in the face. You never needed The Rock. And I'm glad you finally realized it. But now, you've got something I want. And I'm still chasing number 17.
Hold on a second. Oh my word, he's here. The final boss, and it looks like he is carrying the People's Championship. But the final boss has arrived on Friday Night SmackDown, following on from losing the undisputed WWE Championship. Of course, he held that title for 6 long months, but only defended the championship on one occasion. And of course, back at SummerSlam, he had one final offer for John Cena. And it seemed like John Cena had refused that offer when he slapped The Rock in the face to start off the matchup, and refusing to accept the handshake. But why on earth is The Rock here tonight? He's already lost his championship. Of course, coming out here with his own People's Championship. But what on earth does The Rock want now? John Cena and Jacob Fatu are waiting for the final boss to make his way down to the ring. But I mean, this is very, very odd. And I don't like where this is going here. The final boss just taking his time, approaching the ring here. Let's see what he's got to say.
Relax, boys. I'm not here to fight. I'm here to talk. John, you could have had everything. Movies, fame, power. Even the 17th World Championship. But here's the funny part. You two did The Rock a favor. The Rock is one of the most successful men on the planet. Board of directors, global icon, legend. And that kind of success comes with responsibilities. Being undisputed champion, that was a burden. And thanks to you two, that burden has been cut loose. But don't get it twisted. The Rock isn't ready to let go of the power. You had a choice at SummerSlam, John, and you made the wrong one. Because now, the devil has awoken.
Wait, what on earth does that mean? Hold on a second, the final boss, rock bottom delivered to John Cena. And John Cena laid out here. And now it's just The Rock and Jacob Fatu face to face. But hold on a second, The Rock with a throat slit. And what? Who on earth is that? With the WWE Championship off of the face of the champion, Jacob Fatu being brutally assaulted here. But what on earth is going on? What is happening? The final boss just watching on as this masked man, hooded figure, just lays waste to the WWE Undisputed Champion. Well, it seems like the final boss has had a plan after losing his championship. And now the championship falling at the feet of the final boss. And Jacob Fatu disposed of to the outside. The final boss with the championship in hand. Now face to face with this hooded figure. What is happening here? What on earth is going on? The final boss handing the championship over to this man. What on earth is going on here? Hold on a second. Well, I think he's removed the hood and removed the mask. But who is it? Oh my goodness! You cannot be serious. Cody Rhodes has sold his soul to the final boss.